15 years, and you're going to love it. All that and more in this hour of Get Up, which starts right now with the game of the night. MetLife Stadium, pretty good game. Patriots on the road, winless Jets. Patriots a losing record 7 games in for the first time in 18 years. Joe Flacco playing for the injured Sam Darnold and playing well first half. Flacco, Rashard Perriman, 50 yards and a touchdown. The Jets' first passing touchdown since October 11th. They're up 10-7. Second quarter, Jets up 13-10. It's Flacco, Jamison Crowder. Just when we show you the second look at this, watch the spectacular toe tap there for the score. Jets 20-10 at the half. It was their highest scoring half of the season. Fourth quarter, Pats down 10. Second and 10 for Cam, avoiding the sack and finding Jacoby Myers, whom we found all night long. 12 catches, 169 yards for Myers. Later in the drive, third and goal. Newton going to keep it himself, and he's not going to get there. Pats kick a field goal, so it's 27-20. Jets get the ball back. Need to run a little clock, need to take care of business, need not to do this. There's really no better way to describe this than a punt from Joe Flacco, who just throws it up and J.C. Jackson picks it off. And so the Patriots are in business. Ensuing Patriots drive, first and 10. Cam Newton. It's not Myers this time. It's Demir Bird. He's on the right side, and then he's taking it all the way to the left side. He will dive for the pylon in the end and wind up inside the 5. First and goal for the Patriots. Cam would run it on first down, no score. He'd run it on second down, no score. Third time is the charm. Cam Newton finally bowls his way into the end zone, and we're tied at 27, just inside the 2-minute warning. The Jets, a very quick 3 and out. Patriots get it back. 22 seconds to go. Third and 1. Cam runs it up the middle. They have 1 timeout left. Do they call it? No, they don't. Got to get up and spike it. Got to get everyone up to the line, and they do. They spike the ball with 8 seconds to play, saving the 1 timeout. Newton. Jacoby Myers, again, was the man all night long. This is a 20-yard gain. He's down. He's touched. He gave himself up, so he didn't have to be touched either way. Last timeout is called. Adam Gase doesn't ice him because they're better off losing, and Nick Folk kicks it. It's up, and it is good. A 51-yarder from Folk against his former team. The Patriots win it by a score of 30-27. What should have been, or certainly looked like it could have been, a terrible game turned out not to be. A pretty entertaining night, and Cam and company finally snap a 4-game losing streak. And so we've talked about this game and some of the ramifications and some of the particulars of it. Let's go a little bit bigger picture here if we can. Marcus, I will ask you this. The Patriots are 3-5. We're in a season where 7 teams and potentially even an 8th might wind up getting into the playoffs in each conference. Do you see any chance this team makes a second half run based on what you watched last night?
No, G. And look, I know the Patriots are happy about the win. We heard Cam talk about relief. But the bottom line is this is not a good football team. And we're just not accustomed to saying that about a Bill Belichick coach team. But they're not. This team is devoid of talent. They're having to play within the quarterback's wheelhouse and not explosive. We've talked about the weapons on the outside. The one positive is it looked like they got some semblance of a run game going last night, which may help them down the road with Burkhead and obviously Harris before he went out with injury. But New England's not good enough to make a second half run in this division, let alone in that conference, man.
So, Dan Graziano, you told us earlier this morning you expect Cam Newton to be their quarterback the rest of the way, which would suggest Jarrett Stidham is not in their long-term plan. So I would ask you the question this way. Should we expect Cam Newton to be someone's starting quarterback week 1 of next season?
I think he's going to need a big second half in order to do that. Look, I mean, this is a guy that sat unclaimed, unsigned by every team in the league until the Patriots gave him basically a minimum salary deal. The way he's played over the past month hasn't forced any of those other 31 teams to second-guess the decision not to sign him. So, could he have a big second half and be an appealing candidate for teams in the quarterback market this offseason? It's possible. But the way he's played, and given how little he has around him right now, it feels like the odds are against it.
Jeff, what do we say about the Jets coming out of last night? That was a team, I've said it somewhat jokingly here this morning, it was a very curious second half with some of the coaching decisions and non-decisions and all the rest of that. What is a reasonable way to assess them sitting there at 0-9 right now, contemplating what their future looks like with almost certainly a new head coach and probably Trevor Lawrence at quarterback?
Yeah, who's going to be Trevor Lawrence's head coach? I mean, honestly, that's the question that you ask. At 0-9, is it Bieniemy? Is it Brian Daboll from the Buffalo Bills? They're going to have to bring somebody in that understands how to not only develop a quarterback but develop a team. And so, what is that going to look like? You're going to have to bring in some free agent from a wide receiver perspective. But I take it all the way back to a Peyton Manning. Like when Bill Polian came in, they had a good offensive line. They had to move some guys around. That's what they did. The Jets don't have that luxury, right? They got Becton at left tackle. That's kind of their only guy. They got some guys they got to fill in, but they're going to have to build the team around Trevor Lawrence, and that's who's that head coach going to be. The two top candidates, Bieniemy from the Chiefs and Daboll from the Bills, in my opinion.
How do you see it, Greg, and how do you assume Trevor Lawrence sees it?
Well, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I obviously am watching closely with what happens, and it's been unfortunate the way Sam Darnold's been handled early in his career, and frankly, Sam Darnold has to shoulder some of the blame for that. I do think, like what Jeff said, it's going to be really interesting to see who they bring in to help bring along that young quarterback, because if you look kind of throughout the league, the young quarterbacks that are playing best are young quarterbacks whose head coaches also come from a play calling and an offensive background. You look in Los Angeles at what's going on with Jared Goff. We know what's happening right now with Kyler Murray in Arizona. We like what we're seeing from Joe Burrow currently in Cincinnati. So you got to think they're going to lean offense and play caller more specifically with whoever they go after. So I like Daboll. I like Bieniemy. But I also want to throw one more name out there. Don't sleep on the possibility of Jim Harbaugh maybe returning to the NFL from Michigan as a guy that could potentially kind of take over that organization that has fallen on hard times. We know Woody Johnson likes to make a splash.
Look, I've been campaigning for that, but Marcus Spears, things are going really bad in Ann Arbor, and Paul Feinbaum suggested here and on my radio show that might actually diminish some of the NFL interest in him. Real quick, Harbaugh to the NFL next year, Marcus, you're shaking your head. No?
No, not at all. Ship has sailed. And Arthur Smith is a name you throw in there, the OC from the Tennessee Titans. I think he's done a really good job this year with Tannehill and Derrick Henry. But no, not Harbaugh.
Okay.
No, sir.
So we'll leave that there for the moment. Coming off of that night last night, I needed a smile on my face, and I hope maybe everyone else did as well. So let us relive the end of yesterday's program. Might have been the funniest thing we've